those big rigs that have been traditionally used for the high-end production are now starting to shift and come to use the Inspire, the X5, even the Phantom 4, depending on the shot and the size of the project. So we're really seeing the professional side of the industry transitioning to these small, compact drone offerings.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 75. How are companies responding to the rise of the drone industry? Today, we explore this question by hearing how one company's response to drone users led to new market opportunities. Austen Butler is an avid snowboarder, graduate from Sierra Nevada College with a degree in entrepreneurship, and the vice president and co-founder of Polar Pro Filters in Newport Beach, California. Polar Pro specializes in manufacturing accessories for cameras. Originally targeting GoPro users, in the past couple of years, the company has successfully pivoted to providing filters and accessories to drone operators. Austen is here to share the story behind Polar Pro, how it got started, its successful line of products, and how the rise of consumer and commercial drones propelled the company into new markets. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Austen to introduce himself.
My name is Austen Butler, and I am the vice president and co-founder at Polar Pro. So we're a manufacturer of accessories and filters for various different filming devices, whether it be a GoPro, a drone, mobile phone. We manufacture a wide range of filters and accessories to improve the filming experience.
Where's the company based?
All of our products are designed in-house here in California. And we try to keep as much of our production here as well. So we're based here in the Newport Beach area of Southern California, and that is where our headquarters is set up. And since the brand got some momentum when we graduated college, this is where we set up our foundation.
I'm kind of curious, what's the story behind Polar Pro? How did the company get started?
Our CEO and founder, Jeff Overall, was studying economics and accounting at UCSB, and he was also a member of the ski team there. So he was traveling up to Mammoth quite often and filming with a GoPro. And what he found was that the GoPro had a really hard time in sunny conditions on the snow. So in trying to fix that problem, he started messing around with some polarized film and found that he could actually reduce the glare bouncing off the snow and therefore blowing out his GoPro footage. He was able to test a minimum viable product. We were using Roscoe film. We had these hole punchers, big custom-made hole punchers that would allow us to just pretty much cut these out by the hundreds. When we packaged them up and we sold them on Amazon and eBay, and this allowed us to really test a minimal viable product. We saw that there was a lot of interest in using filters to improve GoPro footage. And from there, we were just able to really invest all of the revenue that we were bringing in to build more refined filters. We started with the polarizer. With our background in skiing, snowboarding, action sports, it was perfect to use in outdoor filming conditions. However, we started exploring some different filter options so we could expand the product line. And we started looking at color correction filters. So the red filter became extremely popular. There's a lot of conversation taking place in the GoPro realm about the GoPro's struggles in compensating for the loss of red light when taken underwater. So all the footage was coming out really green and really blue. So we were able to create some color correction filters that brought all that vivid colors back. So the dive industry really gave us a lot of momentum in answering a problem that was to such an extent that people were willing to do whatever it took and purchase an accessory to fix that problem. After we saw a lot of success in the dive industry, we started exploring different filters. That was about the time that the first Phantom came out. And I'm sure you remember the first Phantom had the mount on there for the GoPro. And there was a lot of jello effect that took place. And we found during our testing that an ND filter slowed down the shutter speed of the GoPro enough that it would smooth out that jello effect. And using the filter, you would have limited or, in most cases, no jello effect distortion ruining your video or disrupting your shots. So we started looking at the whole wide range of NDs and looking at different ways that we could implement them. We were using them and marketing them to motorsports. A lot of people using the GoPros on vehicles were experiencing jello effect. And that's when DJI really gained a ton of momentum with that Phantom. And that's when we started to really put our eyes on the drone industry.
There's a lot of different filters out there and other companies that make the filters. What do you think is differentiating your filters from other filters?
Well, we definitely keep all of our designs in-house, custom design. We try to design everything in a way that doesn't disrupt using your drone in any way. It looks factory finished, looks extremely clean, but our biggest attention is to the lightweight construction. So our airframe construction, as we have named it, is an extremely lightweight build that allows us to actually reduce so much of the weight traditionally experienced when using the filters that there's absolutely no stress put onto the gimbal, and there's no problem with tracking or that smooth gimbal function when using the filters. So our lightweight construction is definitely what separates us as far as the product, but as far as the brand goes, there is quite a bit that Polar Pro represents that none of our competitors are able to do as of now. And the big part of that is just the people behind the brand. So Polar Pro, our entire team is made up of action sports enthusiasts and cinematographers, and we're designing products that are inspired by real experiences and real problems that we find in the field. So everyone is very, very passionate about the products that we're developing. We're not just looking for the next bubble or the next product that we can try to unload on the market. We're really looking to build and design products that are going to really increase the video quality in using them, but also just improve the filming experience overall. So whether it be the filters or some of the other accessories that we have, they're all to answer a problem that a user will experience when using their drone, using their GoPro, or their mobile phone. Our customer service department is extremely strong and resilient in providing customers with an experience that goes far beyond that of the purchase. So if we can provide any education on using the products, or if we need to issue replacements, anything that we can do, we try to make sure that we have the integrity of 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
Tell me more about what happened after the Polar Pro filter started getting Phantoms. What kind of feedback were you getting, and where did that take the company?
Well, the company was very much focused on creating GoPro accessories. That's where our roots were. From filters, we expanded and started producing mounts, cases, poles, anything that we could to be innovative, answer a problem, but also offer users a wide range of products that they could use. But when we went to NAB just over 2 years ago, we went with our entire GoPro display, and then off to the side we had some filters, some filter prototypes for the Inspire out on display. And the feedback that we received at NAB specifically to those Inspire filters was absolutely incredible. And we came back from that show realizing that we were the most well-positioned GoPro accessory company that could really transition our products and our designs and everything that we had developed and learned over the years to consumer drone. So NAB was definitely the big change for us, and it just gained a ton of momentum in using the filters to create the most cinematically smooth, high-quality footage possible.
When someone goes to your website, you have a menu for every major drone category that's out there.
So the Phantom, with the industry as a whole, gained a ton of momentum for us. However, using ND filters is a staple when using a drone to capture high-quality video. Between the jello effect and distortion caused, and really just in creating the proper exposure needed in having that quality, high production value video, it's absolutely necessary to have the filters. So as all the different platforms and rigs gain popularity, we're really transitioning our designs and our full range of filters to the emerging drone platforms.
How did the company itself move forward through its business? I'd read that there was a Shark Tank appearance. Can you talk about that and whether or not there was any other major milestones that the company went through?
Shark Tank was definitely a huge milestone for us in that it really took the brand from being this small homebrew startup to being an internationally recognized business. So it really lit a fire under us to really take this company to the next level. And it really shifted things on our end from trying to convince people and show people the product to people actually coming to us at the trade shows, shops actually contacting us to carry our products. So it really changed the dynamic of how we approached sales, business, communications. There's a huge dramatic shift for us, and that allowed us to really focus on developing better products and making improvements wherever we could and not having to chase the sales, chasing the accounts. So it really allowed us to kind of bring everything in focus internally.
And just so everybody knows, Polar Pro was successfully selected by one of the sharks, or was it two sharks? I can't remember.
So on the show, we closed two sharks. We got Robert Hershevek and we got Mark Cuban. Following the show, we were able to keep Mark Cuban involved. Following, however, we did lose Robert Hershevek. But Mark Cuban's people really provided a lot of resources in helping us gear up our website for the airing of the show. They helped us make incredible changes to the website to be able to handle the traffic coming in. And they really helped us just fine-tune a lot of kinks that may have caused us problems after the show's airing. Prior to the show airing, we were averaging a few hundred unique views to the website on a daily basis. The night that the show actually aired, we ended up having over 20,000 people on the website when it hit the East Coast.
Wow.
And that traffic was really consistent as it rolled across to the West Coast. And then the following days after the show, we saw extremely high levels of traffic for actually months after the airing of the show. We were lucky enough that it was well placed going into the holidays. So going into Black Friday, we had a ton of momentum and excitement around the brand. We had a lot of news coming out covering Polar Pro and our airing on the show. And that carried us all the way through April of that year.
So it was a good experience.
All in all, it was a huge opportunity for us to grow extremely fast. So going into the holidays, having tons of momentum and all of that news around the brand was absolutely incredible for a company of our size. Following the holidays, we were able to actually close a lot of the meetings that were giving us a lot of hesitation in bringing in Polar Pro products. This included Best Buy, Target, some of the big box retailers that we were having trouble really pulling the trigger and bringing in our product line. Following the show, everything changed dramatically, and them really opening their ears, taking a look at the products, and really seeing the opportunity in the drone industry. Following that Shark Tank airing and the show featuring Polar Pro, Best Buy made the decision to bring in the various drone platforms from DJI, 3DR, Unique, and they ended up building out an accessories section to accommodate those different platforms.
What part is the drone accessory sales compared to all of the other action type sales that the company was doing before they entered the drone market?
It's tough to say right now. We've got a lot of stuff developing in the mobile phone space as well. And now that GoPro has seen that refresh finally with the new Hero 5, we're starting to see things shift a little bit. But I would say for the last year, the drone market has been accounting for probably pretty close to 80% of our total sales.
Yeah, that's pretty significant. You mentioned that one of the reasons for the success has been the people that work in the company who are action enthusiasts and use the equipment every day. Do you have people that are active drone pilots as well?
So we've actually recently implemented a platform for supporting our pro team and our expanding ambassador platform. So we're starting to work with pilots and with professionals in the studio and high production realm of things, now using the products, and we're working closely with them to fine-tune the products, make sure that the products are accommodating their needs on a very high-end professional level. It's also opening us to so many opportunities that this brand can push itself into that is beyond just the consumer drone use. So we're starting to see so much high production really coming away from the big rigs with the gimbals carrying a GH4 or even a Red. Those big rigs that have been traditionally used for the high-end production are now starting to shift and come to use the Inspire, the X5, even the Phantom 4, depending on the shot and the size of the project. So we're really seeing the professional side of the industry transitioning to these small, compact drone offerings. And we're now allowed to really leverage the high quality of the products to make sure that if we're answering the problems and the needs of that high-end production pilot, that all of the consumers are going to follow because they want to be using the highest quality possible. And they want to be using what some of the people that they follow or they see in the industry using as well. From the early days, Polar Pro in developing the filters for the GoPro, the high-quality precision optics were not as much of a factor as they are in using drones for various production uses. So there's been a huge transition in us focusing on bringing the highest quality glass, the lightest weight filter construction, everything to the most high level of quality that we possibly can. And that is all due to the success of the drone market and all of these consumer drones that are now being used for high-end production.
So people know, what kind of cost range are your filters?
Some of our standard 3-packs, those retail for $50. Some of the single SKUs come all the way down for both the GoPro and the various drones to $29.99 for a single filter. However, what we really try to share with consumers is that there is no go-to ND filter that is going to be successful in bringing you the quality footage that you want in all lighting conditions, and that having a wide range of the filters is absolutely necessary depending on your lighting conditions for each shot, each time you go out and fly. So what we've done is we've created the single SKU filters, 3-packs, and then what we call the professional pack, our 6-packs of filters, which feature a polarizer, ND8, ND16, ND32, and then some ND polarizers as well. This full range for most of the offerings we have retails at $150.
You have filters for the general use consumer that are really great quality filters, but what do you have for those that might be at a higher end and are demanding a little bit more in the quality and performance?
So we have recently developed what we're calling the Cinema Series. The Cinema Series filters we now have for the Phantom 3, the Phantom 4, and we will have them for the Mavic and the Karma as well. And what the Cinema Series offers is multi-coated, lightweight HD glass and the aluminum lightweight construction. So that higher end filter retails at $100 for a 3-pack. And the big key factor on those is having the AR coatings on both sides of the glass. As I mentioned earlier, with the GoPro filters, consumers weren't as critical of the difference that they saw in using the filters. And because of that, I think we had a really hard time hitting the price points that we wanted to and offering the quality of filters that we wanted to. However, with the drone industry, there is a demand for the highest quality optics possible. So this really allowed us to put more time into our designs, offer the highest quality glass that we possibly could, and in doing so, we can hit a price point that is great for us, it's great for the consumer, but at the end of the day, it's really just selling a product that is going to improve the footage by so much that there's no hesitation in purchasing the filters for drones.
Back to the point you were making on the resistance of users to adopt the filters when the GoPro came out. Do you think that's because when GoPro was introduced, It was such a jump in what we were used to seeing that for most of us, we really didn't even think about using a filter.
Yeah, definitely. And we're starting to see everything kind of circle back here. So I think that in the beginning, in the early days, when we were focusing on just GoPro, the average GoPro consumer didn't have a lot of education on using the cameras, using filters, and what they needed to do in order to capture the best exposure, highest quality possible. But the drone consumer is definitely a lot more educated in using camera equipment and what is necessary in obtaining the highest quality video possible. And in most cases with the GoPro, I think that, you are using them for the action. The action is really what captures people's attention. With a drone, typically you're seeing these amazing aerial views. You're seeing these beautiful landscapes. And having that high quality filter is going to be what makes your image or your video a very beginner looking video or photo compared to that high end production that you get when using the filter to get the best video quality possible.
Can you tell me about what you see happening in the drone industry and how Polar Pro is continuing to position itself?
Well, I think very much in people kind of coming back right now is that they had some experience with the GoPro, and that kind of introduced them to using a camera and capturing great content. The drone was definitely a huge evolution in people being able to even do so much more. And they've really gone on themselves to learn more, become educated on using camera equipment, lighting conditions, video editing. And now what we're seeing is a lot of those users are now coming back. They're using the GoPro again. They see that the GoPro is a tool for capturing some content. A drone is a tool for capturing those aerials and those great tracking shots. And now a lot of them are starting to use the mirrorless camera setups. And that's kind of what I think the next frontier is that for so long we've had people that were just using the GoPro, people just using the drone, but now the millennial generation especially has grown up using these and learning so much along the way that now it's one tool in their kit that they use for creating very engaging, captivating videos and content.
If someone buys one of your packs of filters, what tips would you give them to send them off in the right direction?
I'd definitely say, don't try to purchase one filter, whether it be our 3-pack starter kit or the 6-pack. Definitely urge users to really get their hands on using the filters. And the best way that you're actually going to learn the best conditions and best scenarios to use the various filters is going to be just going out and seeing the results that you capture. I mean, there's definitely some guidelines that we like to share with our customers and anyone using filters, is that you really want to use that filter to cut down the shutter by 50%.
Does Polar Pro have video tutorials or resources or a community that new users could tap into to pick up some of those techniques?
There's so much content out there, and what we've really been doing in the last year is kind of positioning all the content that we put out to really bring awareness and show what can be done with the filters, and allowing both our ambassadors and a lot of the various channels covering the filters, doing reviews, to really share that information. Because I think that if we try to bring that education so much that we really position ourselves as so much of an expert, that I think a lot of users will just really think that that's us using sales tactics. So what we've really tried to do is empower our ambassadors and empower a lot of the YouTube reviews and different channels that are covering the filters to really share that information. And it's coming from someone removed from the brand, an unbiased tutorial, if you will, about how to use the filters and a lot of the tips, because a lot of people kind of find different things that work for them, and there are just a ton of different tips and tutorials that you can find out there depending on what works best for you and what your application for the drone is.
I can see where it helps empower your users to be able to share their success stories.
Exactly. And what we've seen is that it resonates really well with consumers in getting that information from someone removed from the brand rather than us directly.
Sure. So tell me more about yourself. You were one of the founders, so out of college you started the company?
Yeah, so Jeff got the company going back in 2011 while I was at college. He was on the ski team there at UC Santa Barbara. I was on the snowboard team at Sierra Nevada College, a small liberal arts college up in Lake Tahoe in Klein Village area. However, has a very strong entrepreneurship program. So while attending there, at first, just for the snowboarding aspect while I was in college, I ended up falling in love with the entrepreneurship program, competing in various entrepreneurship classes, and really got a fire lit underneath for getting out into the startup world. Right after graduation there in May 2012, Jeff and I both had a mutual friend that wanted to make sure that we did connect and start some conversation about building a brand. So we had seen each other at some of the various events in the college ski and snowboard circuit, but it wasn't until just after college that we were properly introduced, and we sat down and just kind of started brainstorming right out of the gate. And what we did is we just identified people within our network that had experience in using cameras and cinematography, as well as action sports, which was at the time our core demographic. And we just built a team as quickly as we could that would allow us to really harness the momentum that the brand was seeing from the start. We've seen tremendous momentum since the very beginnings.
When did you graduate?
2012.
So it's been about 4 years for you guys from the time you started talking about it to today, maybe four and a half years.
Yep, just over 4 years. And, at first we were just focusing on the filters. And what really gained the brand a lot of momentum just before the drone filters is actually expanding the product line and offering more than just the filter collections that we had. And really branching out in developing mounts, different battery integrated products, and cases. And this allowed us to really learn a lot about manufacturing and what we actually could produce. And that has really allowed us to really fine tune our development phase, now bring products to market in a very consistent 8-week time period from a very early design to fully developed, retail ready, and fully landed here at our warehouse.
What's the design process like for a new product? How do you go from an idea to a final product design?
All of our products are very much inspired by our experiences, whether it be out on the mountain skiing and snowboarding or traveling with a drone. Like I said, we all live the brand, use the product. So wherever we identify anything being problematic or being something that we could fine tune to really increase the experience that we have, that's what we aim to focus that development around. So none of our products are designed purely just to produce a product. Every product is very much designed to answer a problem and fill a void that we see when we're out using the products ourselves.
Over the past 4 years, what's been the biggest surprise that you've encountered along the way?
I mean, really, I'd say just the momentum we gained at that NAB show. We didn't see it coming, and we tried to be well aware of what opportunities might present themselves going to a show. I mean, you always try to be as prepared and keep your eyes open, ear to the ground, to see any opportunity in any direction we might go in. But really, that NAB show really changed things for us, and really not only did it light a fire under us, but it really showed us what we were capable of achieving in the drone industry with the demand that was there that we didn't see as much in the GoPro industry.
And what does 2017 hold for you guys?
Following Shark Tank, we did get a tap on the shoulder to partner with OtterBox and their new Universe case system. So that has given us a huge opportunity to differentiate and start producing a lot of products for the mobile phone space, whether it be filters and lenses. We have some different battery products. We see a lot of opportunity to bring a lot of the products that we've developed for drones or GoPros to a mobile phone. So there's a lot of focus there. And I think as we see the consumer becoming more educated, using more than a GoPro, using more than a drone, and really getting into using all the equipment, we see a lot of opportunities in that production world, that studio level of cinematography that we can begin developing products for as well.
Is there anything that we missed? Anything that we should have talked about that I didn't bring up?
I definitely want consumers to be well aware that even though the Mavic and the Karma have come to market and that brands like ourselves are doing everything we can, that we will be bringing the highest quality filters we have ever brought to market with the new drones. So as the drones advance, the technology, the designs for the drones themselves evolve and continually get better and better, which is amazing. We're doing everything we can to be neck and neck with that evolution, make sure that we are making improvements and bettering our product in any way possible.
You have to sort of wait until the manufacturers release their products before you know what you're designing for, or do you have relationships that allow you to see what they're working on as they bring it to market?
Sadly, all of these brands really keep all of that information to themselves. So we are in no way ahead of the curve than anyone else within the industry. So, as soon as the products do come to market, we're pretty much have the wheels spinning here, doing everything we can to get products designed, tested, and to market as soon as possible. So our engineering team and our development process has been very much fine-tuned to accommodate that very short timeline that we have once the products are released. Things might be business as usual, but as soon as that new product hits shelves, we're going 100 miles an hour here.
What do you hope people walk away with after experiencing the company?
I really hope that people have a great experience with our product and realize that there's so much opportunity to improve their videos and their content that they're generating in a variety of different ways, whether it's using a filter to decrease the amount of distortion you might be experiencing in windy conditions, or using the filters to really get that proper exposure to get the highest quality image possible, or even if it's something like using our landing gear so that you feel a little bit better about the protection around your gimbal and camera. Everything is designed to improve their experience and the experience in using your equipment. So we really just want our customers to feel that they can trust us to deliver and provide the products that they need to go out there, chase their adventures, and document it and share it with their friends.
That's it for episode 75 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Austen Butler of Polar Pro Filters and learning about how they're responding to drone users' needs and desires. I want to thank Austen for taking the time to speak with me. If you want more information on Polar Pro or want to connect with Austen, check out their website at polarprofilters.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a positive review on iTunes. It really does help. And as always, I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Gores.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.